I made some updates to the inside of the coop. Mostly using scrap materials I had. I did buy a few 2x4s. But basically I made, since the chickens hopefully will start laying in the next month or 2 months, I made these nesting boxes. This is the door, so this backside here will be dark for them when they're actually using it. And if you can tell, they're rollaway ones. The eggs will roll back to the edge here, and then that will allow us to retrieve them more easily. Right now we have little just toy golf balls in here just to help them understand when the time comes that that's where they should lay their eggs. We'll see if that works. In the process, I had to shorten this roost here, and the other one's still the same long. There's 7 chickens right now, and they have plenty of space. And they've been roosting just fine. I ended up cleaning out the bedding and using and adding new bedding because I wanted to get in here to build this thing. This whole thing. So whenever I do clean this out, we do. If you can tell, I don't know, we have the deep litter method here going. So solid. Right now there's a solid 4 inches or so, I think, and we can always add more up to that door. And so that's our plan going forward, but this bedding is actually just a standard pine shavings from, I think the brand is Marth. The first bag we got were Marth Easy Pick bedding, which is a lot smaller shavings. And actually, like, looking at this stuff and how it's reacting to the poop, this is a lot coarser and doesn't soak up quite as much of the moisture as the other stuff. So I will see how this goes long term, but it compacts a little bit more, so when they're walking on it, it's a little sturdier for them. But the actual performance when it comes to their poop and stuff seems to be maybe a little worse. Yeah, if you can see here too. So I had some hardboard that I used on this side, and for the top I just used some cardboard boxes, and cardboard box in here to make it a little darker. This whole two-story nesting box can come out. It's not attached at all. It's in here nice and sturdy because of the little I don't know what you call this thing. This thing that keeps the pine shavings in, and the roost. They keep it nice in place, nice and strong and sturdy in place. But the whole thing can come out. So whenever I want to clean, which won't be very often, I'll take this thing out. I can these are just using scrap pieces of stuff. I think the bottom one actually is a piece of drywall covered in this indoor-outdoor carpeting. And so the indoor-outdoor carpeting should keep everything clean, should be soft enough for them. And I already had the stuff from when we were working in our storage room, so very little cost to these nesting boxes. And I also didn't have to put any more doors on the doors or holes in the wall, and I didn't have to buy more of the siding, the sheet siding, paneling siding, whatever. I like the concept of having the nesting boxes built right into the coop, especially because I think we have enough space for the chickens in here. This coop is always open to the run. Everything is secure, so I'm hoping in the winter they don't have to spend too much time in here. If need be, we'll put up some tarps on the walls of the run to keep some of the snow out and keep it a little bit warmer for them if they end up being too finicky when it comes to snow. But we'll see how that goes. But I just like to keep this thing nice and weather tight. It's with the ventilation, there's plenty of ventilation in here. There's ventilation up there. There's ventilation up by the corrugated roofing. Well, obviously ventilation by the door. But yeah, I just want to give an update on this. I did this this past weekend. Pretty happy with the results, and the chickens don't seem to mind. They look like a couple of them maybe went in there and just to check out what this is, but they haven't really spent much time in there. I don't think they understand what they're for yet because they haven't laid yet. But the chickens are are pretty much fully grown. They already, most of them are getting nice sizable combs and wattles, and yeah, Nigella, our brown leghorn, has the biggest comb and wattle, but that's just par for the course for the brown leghorn breed. Yeah, so I also at the same time I cleaned out the floor of the run, and we put in some coarse kind of wood, like actually kind of fine wood shavings, wood chips, whatever we got from my neighbor for when he was doing some chainsawing, and I got from myself from when he was doing some chainsawing because one of our branches landed on our roof. Just to keep things a little drier in there and not too stinky. Seems to work just fine. This one is really curious about what's going on. Yeah, but so far so good. All of our chickens have been very healthy. I'll probably close this up. And I keep a thermometer in here. It doesn't get too hot. It's been pretty hot today, but it's this coop stays decently shaded, which is why we are okay with having the clear fiberglass roof. Yeah, this thing was just made out of scrap. But yeah, this coop so far has performed well. We'll see how it performs longer term in the winter. And I don't know, maybe I'll let the chickens out for a little while. One thing we've done, we have this 2x4 here. I've laid this across the run for them so they can roost during the day. But if I keep it in there I'm taking a break from that because eventually they get too used to it and they end up just roosting on there at night. And I still prefer they roost in the coop at night. The other morning I noticed they were out there, and there were some dogs barking in a neighboring yard, and the chickens were all making lots of noise because they didn't know what the dog was doing and where the dog was, and they just would feel more secure and be a little quieter if they were in their coop at night. So I'm trying to retrain them just to go up into their coop every night, and maybe eventually I'll put the roost back out, and if I do, I'll just leave it out during the day and take it down at night if I want to do that. So. Well, this video got way longer than I thought. I kind of just rambled on about this coop. Oop, there's a cardinal over there on the fence. The chickens are really curious about other birds, and they really like to chase moths and other like flies and insects. I've seen them catch them before. And generally it seems like, according to the pecking order right now, Jella and our two-barred rocks, Stripey and Stripes, are definitely on top. Jella doesn't instigate anything. It seems like our cinnamon queens are the instigators. They always try to do their little like standoff thing, and the feathers on the back of their neck stand up, and they stand up straight and do a little sparring. But typically they back down from Jella and the barred rocks. And so the pecking order is basically the 3 non-cinnamon queens, and then the cinnamon queens have their own sort of internal pecking order, I think. Okay, I guess I have to go, so I have to put these chickens inside.